What's up, people? What's up, gamers? What's up, nerds? How you guys doing? Welcome back to their CSGO video. My name is Jake. What's your name? You guys can leave a comment down below, but of course, you're here for CSGO news. Let's break it down for all of you. Not too many big stories out there this past weekend, although the first of which is pretty big, and we'll have another solo video on this, that being the disbandment of OpTic Gaming. This is the official end of OpTic forever, which we do seem probably very likely in CSGO. So I'm not telling you guys to go invest in OpTic stickers. That might be a bit of a risky move there, but the future of OpTic in CSGO is certainly done as of last weekend. I actually talked about this, and then minutes after my video released, it was actually OpTic disbanding themselves. The remaining trio on that roster alongside their coach, MSL, niko, Config, and Rugga, have now all benched themselves on that OpTic Gaming roster. Very, very shocking. I did not see this one happening. The giant question, of course, going forward is how much their buyouts will remain to be on this roster. Will they continue to be trapped on this roster that Immortals Gaming Club is somehow operating two CSGO teams still, or at least they were, until these guys have now benched themselves, and supposedly with that have now forfeited their ESL and ECS spots, which is of course a lot of the part of the value that trio did have going forward. They are now set to disband. They are not going to be playing for OpTic anymore, although they will be under the OpTic umbrella still, or the Immortals umbrella still, now set for individual sale. Even more so, we have Config clarifying as well, as we'll touch on more on this in the future. Config's contract is apparently much shorter than MSL or niko's. With them being on the bench, so is their buyout now dropped? Because some teams out there, when they actually have players on the bench, their buyouts, much like that of Abel J for Furia, his buyout was apparently 50% of what it was when he was on the starting roster than when he was on the bench. So apparently their buyouts might be lower if that's how it works. I don't know if a player benches himself, if his buyout automatically lowers. We'll see if any team out there actually buys these players individually who have been trapped now here for 4 months, maybe known about this for 6 months. The future of OpTic, though, inside CSGO is now done. Another video on this coming sometime soon as we beg Immortals to let these players go. And speaking of disbands out there, potential roster moves, and the future of teams out there, we just don't know anymore. We have now seen, I think we'll see it now throughout 2019, the most forfeited Pro League spots of any roster out there. Another one of that actually could be the ex-Lazarus, now Swole Patrol roster. They are currently in relegation for ESL Pro League and now let go 2 of their members, or they have actually stepped down. That being Zellsis alongside Subroza. I think it was actually Ryan. He deleted these tweets from Rushby Media, of course. He was joking about Zellsis actually stepping down from the roster, and the Lazarus roster, the ex-Lazarus roster, which is now currently Swole Patrol. I know, a bit confusing. Apparently they had been bought out. Zellsis would not be a part of that. He joked about that, so I'm not sure what their future might be. Joke or not, Zellsis is now gone. Subroza is now gone for whatever their future might hold. And the future of this Swole Patrol roster, which was looking so good when they signed with Lazarus, for which supposedly going to be a long-term project, at least a year or two, and that was cut short after a few months, because Lazarus can, I guess, just do that. After that slow rise of being signed, making ESL Pro League, and actually having a pretty solid roster, and still on paper, you know, you got these players left in this roster who a lot of people in the community are back and forth on. Neptune, the young up-and-comer who now knows his age. He is still very young, though, and has yet to gain a lot of experience, but had a lot of potential with him. Swag has been back and forth in public opinion of whether or not he can actually live up to what we think he can be. He's slowly becoming kind of like a sick member out there, if you guys know that reference. And then Ye is a very diverse player. I thought have actually had a very good chance of playing alongside teams. He's played with a Brazilian team. He's played with American teams out there. He's played alongside Complexity. I still think a very diverse skill set that can actually work. They're now left to just 3 members, though. Zellsis, Subroza are now out. The future of Swole Patrol, I have no idea. Will they be able to retain their ESL Pro League spot, though, with a 3-man roster? We will see going forward as the roster changes do continue. We had Ghost Gaming. They left CSGO. ESL Pro League spot gone. We have Luminosity Gaming. They're gone. ESL Pro League spot also gone. Now Swole Patrol, a couple players gone as they enter ESL Pro League relegation. They might as well be forfeiting their spot too. We are breaking records when it comes to actually owning these league spots, and teams are just giving them away. Oh, OpTic Gaming too. ESL Pro League spot, ECS spot, just gone. It baffles me. Also in late news out there, I know this happened, I think it was actually several days ago as well. That's Cajunb has now been confirmed back to North in place of Valde. Not too much in this team statement, guys, but yes, apparently Gade will now be back to the IGL range on that roster as Cajun does join in place of Valde, who we think is going to go to the OG Power roster. Apparently negotiations are still underway. If you guys do want to check HLTV results as well this past weekend, a lot of big upsets out there. I think especially when it came to ESL Pro League matches as well, along alongside that DreamHack Atlanta qualifiers, we saw some matchups that were very interesting. I think the Quest took down Complexity, Ben's Anime, they took down a big team out there as well. Heroic and Sprout went back and forth. Sprout should not have lost that best of 3 they did. And then in terms of actually making the finals as well, Vitality fall to NIP. This past weekend has been a slew of upsets out there. They do continue in these qualifiers as well, as teams that should not be losing are losing, teams that should not be winning are winning, and CSGO is crazier than ever. Vitality with Shocks need to wake the frick up, because NIP has seemingly made the best changes of a lot of teams out there. Some decent placements. They make quarters of the last event, and now this NIP coming out on top. Are they back? And very lastly, and all of you guys, for news out there, yes, big upsets also do continue for some formerly big teams out there. That's going to be Virtus Pro. We had the Forge Masters event this past weekend, and they actually fell in consecutive series to 2 teams out there. One, the Smash lineup. That's Michaelele and company, who were finally signed as well. A pretty decent roster, so I wouldn't say too big of an upset there. They also fall, though, to Illuminar. That's actually a Polish team out there. They have Innocent on that roster alongside, I believe, Reitz. So some well-known Polish players out there who have actually been performing pretty good as of late. They only take down Virtus Pro, but in the past week as well, they've already taken down Aristocracy. That's Taz and company, the former ex-Cajunb roster, which does make currently, I think, another Polish team out there has made some decent results. They are seemingly the #1 Polish team out there. I've said this time and time again. We had the AGO era. We had Virtus Pro kind of come back. We had Cajunb/Aristocracy. They had their time as well. And now Illuminar become the 3rd or 4th Polish team to rise out there, but not really breaking any barriers as well. Polish CSGO continues to struggle. Illuminar might be a team to keep your eye out for. Ironically enough, their logo is also an eye. Very lastly, for all of you guys as well, we found out last week, thanks to AB Overdrive, it was actually Virtus Pro apparently having interest to return to the CIS scene and buy out a complete CIS roster in Dream Eaters. Dream Eaters said no. Of course, that team has now left the Dream Eaters organization, so that sucks for them. Virtus Pro also kind of sucking for them, because that roster has fallen off after their 2nd place finish at V4 Festival. Very lastly, again, thanks to AB Overdrive, apparently another CIS change out there. It was actually ForZe. Apparently their entire roster was offered to be bought by Winstrike, and ForZe said no. It's crazy to see all of these CAS Europe rosters actually looking for entire rosters out there, as we currently look for North American teams and I think European mixes to come back into the scene. We've already listed all the teams out there that are trying to come back and trying to buy potentially full rosters or make their own teams out there. In the CIS scene out there, we've had just all these teams offering entire rosters. Dream Eaters and now Team ForZe both deny those moves, and I think it actually worked out well for both rosters right now. You know, Winstrike and their new roster has Hobbit on it, alongside others that are kind of notable. I believe Crizzen on there as well. They're not doing too bad, so I don't think too bad of a change there for Winstrike. They were, though, going to apparently buy the entire ForZe team, and they said no. As always, my name is Jake, breaking down CSGO news here every single day alongside other gaming news, which, by the way, I might have a lot of videos out today and tomorrow and this week in general. Thank you all for subscribing, for liking, for commenting. I know I don't always reply to your comments, but I do read them pretty much every single night, and you CSGO people out there have always been very kind to me. So some crazy news out there. It does continue. Some buyouts do continue, and OpTic is still trapped. But as always, hope you guys all enjoy. I'll see you back here tomorrow breaking down other gaming and esports news. Until then, take care of yourselves. Have some coffee. I'll see you guys soon. All right. Bye.